Elon Musk is now confirming something that could change everything for Bitcoin. What was previously just a rumor now seems to be actually happening here. He wants to uncover a scandal in the US, and it has to do with the treasury, with treasury spending. At the same time, there is also criticism, and we need to look at the whole thing very, very critically. It's about making government spending more efficient. And this is where Bitcoin comes into play, because he clearly confirms that he wants to use blockchain here. And what is the most censorship-resistant, what is the most tamper-proof, and what is the longest, oldest, and most well-known blockchain that exists? That's obviously here, Bitcoin. And now a lot of people are speculating about this too, that Elon Musk has something to do with Bitcoin and wants to kickstart something here with Bitcoin. But many are also just saying, no, he's just going to use some Bitcoin solutions and so on. I also talked about this a little while ago. In the end, it was just a rumor. Now Elon Musk confirms that he wants to use blockchain here to uncover treasury fraud, so here spending abuses or spending scandals. Because he just says so much money is being thrown around here. Somewhere behind the scenes, money is being handed out to people, and that won't be disclosed transparently in the end. And for that, you obviously need a blockchain to lay things out more transparently. I mean, just imagine here, the whole system in the US would run on Bitcoin. You wouldn't be able to bribe any politicians anymore, or something like that, if you could just trace it all transparently on the blockchain. Where politicians are being bribed, where money is flowing out of the country, and then it's being skimmed off by someone else. But that's not all. Elon Musk made another very, very interesting statement in a new interview, which is also highly explosive for Bitcoin, which we will also take a look at. First, we need to take a look. What problem is supposed to be solved here, or what scandal does Elon Musk want to uncover? And how blockchain, how Bitcoin basically comes into play here. He says here, professional finance officials break the law every day and every hour by approving payments that are fraudulent or not, in line with the funding laws passed by Congress. This has to stop now, and in the end, that's a statement that was made here. And then the question is asked here, if the treasury should be hosted on a blockchain. Mario Naval posted this here, who always posts very, very interesting things here on X. And then Elon Musk clearly says here, yes, he wants to put the treasury on the blockchain. And that's basically it. The question is, there was already a report about this, but it doesn't say which blockchain should be used. And here comes the big criticism. Because now, if you look at the comments, there are a lot of people. One person writes, yeah, hey, do it on Cardano. The next one says, do it on IOTA. The next one says, yes, use it in the blockchain. Then all sorts of wild names are being thrown around here. All sorts of totally wild stories, where they basically want to put the treasury on the blockchain. And then on some really weird, crazy projects here. Wants to launch. Not so sure about that. If Elon Musk is actually talking about Bitcoin, but he definitely wants to put the treasury on the blockchain to get more transparency here, to get transparency. And I'll say it again here, if a blockchain does it, it's only in very, very few cases. It makes sense. For example, here with Bitcoin, it absolutely makes sense because we're basically bypassing an oracle problem. That means we've created digital scarcity here. With many blockchain stories, with many blockchain solutions, or actually with all of them. Except for Bitcoin, it's actually the case that we always have an oracle problem here. That means we have some things, bananas, that we want to put on the blockchain. Treasuries that we want to put on the blockchain. And often they are also physical things. And then we have the problem here that we have to involve a third party again. That basically just gets verified here in the end. Whether the bananas still exist in the physical world or if they've already been eaten. And then, if we basically involve a third party again, either on top of a blockchain or underneath it, it depends on how you want it. Then we just don't have any decentralization anymore. Because why do we need a decentralized blockchain if we're just bringing in a central party again? That makes absolutely no sense and is complete nonsense. And that's basically what a lot of people criticize. When it always comes to the topic of blockchain, it's just a buzzword that's being thrown around. But often it really has no use. If you could just represent it much, much better with a regular database. In this case, it's probably about that. That you might want to use stablecoins here and then basically use blockchain in the form of stablecoins. And that could make some sense in a way, even though you have to be aware of that. That we're still supporting the fiat money system that's based on exploitation and stuff like that. And that doesn't really match the other statements from the Department of Government Efficiency that they want to save costs and stay efficient. And stuff like that. If you want to have maximum transparency and maximum efficiency here, then only Bitcoin makes sense, because Bitcoin also leads to that. That you can't live beyond your means anymore. No more printing money, that's all it can do, and so on. But if you don't aim for maximum efficiency and transparency here, but perhaps one level. If it goes down, then they'll probably do something with stablecoins or something like that. But it could still be good for Bitcoin, because stablecoins are a big on-ramp for Bitcoin. And if people are into stablecoins, the step here is to go into Bitcoin. Definitely lower than if you go directly from fiat, i.e. from a bank account or something like that, into Bitcoin. That is, if we have advancing stablecoin adoption, then that could also be good for Bitcoin. So either he uses Bitcoin, but I see the likelihood of that being very, very low. He's probably going to use some kind of Bitcoin or stablecoins. So if he's using Bitcoin, that would definitely be ultra bullish for Bitcoin. If he's using stablecoins, it would be indirectly bullish for Bitcoin. And if he's using some kind of shitcoin story, then it's just some shitcoin story. Then it's obviously not so bullish for Bitcoin. Not so bullish for stablecoins. And yeah, then he should just mess around with his shitcoin stories and he'll figure it out himself eventually. That it maybe wasn't the absolute best solution here. There was also an assessment about it. Here it says breaking news. Huge spending scandal here. Elon Musk just raised the alarm. And it could be the biggest financial fraud in US history. Hourly, officials from the Treasury Department violate the law by approving payments that are fraudulent or not, comply with the funding laws passed by Congress. So, in the end, this is just phrased a bit differently here. And here's the issue again, that they want to get a handle on the spending fraud. Elon Musk always talks about how the government is just too overreaching, too many expenses, and so on. And now you can really start experimenting with some stable coins. You can start cutting ministries, you can start saving on various things. But if you really want to be radical about this and think it all the way through, then it really only makes sense to use Bitcoin. Only Bitcoin takes the printing press away, only Bitcoin removes the state's monopoly on money, only Bitcoin makes corruption and nepotism unnecessary in the long run. Of course, not 100% unnecessary, but at least unnecessary enough that it's really, really expensive. Here, corruption continues to be upheld. There's always the war example, right? If, let's say, we had Bitcoin, then no one could afford to go to war anymore. That was actually a statement from an MMT economist, shout out to Maurice Hofken, who said that then no one could afford to go to war anymore. Because then, of course, the system is so efficient. If you can't print money anymore, you can't redistribute money anymore. And so on. And that's really the dream of the Department of Government Efficiency. If they're at least being honest, do you understand what they're saying here? And whatever, though I'm not 100% sure. Whether Elon Musk really understands Bitcoin here, I just don't know. But if you really think it through, then Bitcoin is actually the only solution here. But it's always the question, do they get it, do they not get it, or something like that? It could be, I'm in the wrong place. Feel free to write that in the comments. Elon Musk actually said something very interesting in a recent statement. Here you see the statement, I translated it into German. Here he says, let's make America even bigger. Dodge and Elon Musk can make it happen. If we can get a handle on government spending. Your grocery shopping stays the same. Your grocery list stays the same. Your mortgage payments are going down, your car loans are getting cheaper, and your credit card bills are lower. That's what people in America want. That's a good goal. And that's exactly the issue. He wants to solve government spending here. But the only way he has here to solve government spending, to solve spending in the government, in my estimation, it's Bitcoin. Because on one hand, you obviously have the spending limits here. That means you already have something like a spending block here. You can't live beyond your means, because otherwise the Bitcoin will just be gone. Secondly, if you don't switch to the Bitcoin standard here, that's utopian. That will never happen in the next 10 years or so. So you can forget about that. That's basically just the vision if you think it all the way through. But what's the catch? What happens here is that, like Donald Trump, you could potentially strengthen the dollar with Bitcoin. What builds massive Bitcoin reserves here? So, of course, it strengthens the dollar. And so, of course, as Michael Taylor already mentioned, maybe at some point in 30 or 40 years, the US can pay down its debt. At the same time, you obviously have to implement some savings programs. Additionally, you obviously have to implement transparency programs. That maybe you could also work with blockchain, stablecoins, or something like that. That would basically be the way. But it's always interesting. People have written that too. Now Trump has said so much about Bitcoin, and Elon Musk usually comments on everything. But when it comes to Bitcoin, he hasn't done anything big lately. He commented a bit on Ross Ulbricht, but that wasn't directly related to Bitcoin. He commented on Snowden, but that didn't really have anything to do with Bitcoin. So apparently, he hasn't really made any specific statements about Bitcoin lately. Instead, it's more about blockchain or something like that. And now a lot of people have shown a lot of questions. And now he actually made an interesting statement in an interview that could also be relevant for Bitcoin. Will he maybe open up to Bitcoin as well? He also has Bitcoin with Tesla, and he also has it now with the fixed equipment. Like the fair value accounting story, here massive unrealized gains now realized. And you guys really need to understand this, right? Hey, Bitcoin is actually something good. He has also now made massive profits from Tesla's Bitcoin holdings, etc. He's benefiting. Let's just keep an eye on this. I can't really say much about it, if it will happen. In what form that will happen, we just have to keep an eye on it. If it actually happens, that would be crazy because it would definitely have a huge leverage effect. If Elon Musk were to use Bitcoin, let's say, although I don't see the probability of that happening as very high. If you're still looking for a great tax reporting tool, I'll drop a link for you below. Coin tracking, where you can easily track your portfolio. You can also create tax reports there. I use it myself to keep an overview of the tax situation. But of course, it's also a tracking tool, so you can easily see it. Okay, which Bitcoins are tax-free? Which Bitcoins are not tax-free? It's important, you can sign up here for free. But there's a discount with the code COTEL if you sign up for a subscription here. Coin tracking. I'll put a link below to 21 Bitcoin, where you can easily buy Bitcoin. Here, with the code Bitcoin Hotel, you can also get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin. Alright folks, see you then. Peace out.